Hey, I don't know if you noticed, but we're being propagandized again into more war. A lot more war. You know, when we see children being killed by bombs, we also forget that our bombs kill children. The ones we drop, yeah. We are seeing images intended to pull our emotional heartstrings into war when we should be pulling our sales of weapons from the war. Yeah. Dr. Jill Stein says you don't stop terrorism by feeding it. You stop terrorism by starving it. Right now, America is offering an all-you-can-eat buffet during happy hour. America's foreign policy is like the guy at the gun show selling guns in the parking lot who's also a cop. That's what this is like. Both Republicans and Democrats say we need more military action in the Middle East. Because, you know, one of these days we're going to get it right, and you can't be afraid to make mistakes. And if you watch the vice presidential debate, both of the candidates pushed peace through strength. I say let's try a different strategy. How about let's try strength through peace? The presidential ticket calling for the refusal of Syrian refugees into our country are also offering a policy that's going to create a lot more Syrian refugees. We're bombing the Sunni extremists and the Shia extremists. We don't pick sides. We'll bomb both. Does that make us a little extreme? And right now, we're doing our damnedest to bomb Syria into peace. Assad is bombing his people in the wrong way. We need to go over there, and we're going to show them how it's really done. And after we knock out that Syrian government, we'll replace it with another Syrian government that we'll need to knock out too. You know, fighting our war on terror includes fighting other countries' war on terror. Because the media doesn't cover our military adventurism in the Middle East, the American people will be manipulated into supporting even more foreign interventionist disasters. The media sells war like it sells Viagra. We're told if we overturn Syria, that'll be great because it will stabilize the Middle East and set the table for Saudi Arabia to finish off destroying Yemen. Keep in mind, endless wars mean endless profits for Raytheon, Boeing, and General Dynamics. And oh yeah, Dick Cheney's company, Halliburton. So I wanted to remind everybody, as both parties talk about more war in the Middle East, dropping more bombs on terrorists we created, I wanted to play this videotape of General Wesley Clark. Let's listen to what he had to say to remind us about what's really going on in the Middle East. People forget because the corporate media doesn't report this. But here we go.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me. And one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." So I came back to see him a few weeks later. And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
So go through the countries again.
Well, starting with Iraq, then Syria and Lebanon, then Libya, then Somalia and Sudan, and then back to Iran.
So just keep that in mind. And both parties were on board for that. 60% of all Democrats in Congress supported it. And it was only for their incompetence that they didn't get to keep going. It was only because they screwed up Iraq, you know, the occupation of it so badly, appointing, you know, worse than incompetence to try to run their country. Anyway, there you go. So just keep that in mind. And there is a way to vote against more war. It's about time Americans took back their government. We need a revolution. And all I know is voting for, there's no way to not vote for more war unless, you know, you throw your vote away. So I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to give it to the person who's going to go drop bombs on more brown people and kill babies with bombs, because that's what happens. That's what happens in war. It's not hyperbole. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Totally made up, totally a war of choice. Imagine if those were terrorists. Yeah, we're gonna start doing terrorism in 7 different countries, trying to destabilize the country. Just start blowing up people. That's what terrorists do. Well, that's what we did. So remember, whenever you point the finger, 3 pointing back at you. So keep that in mind. And at some point, it would be nice if the American people rose up against their own government to stop these wars.